Hey, what is up, fellow Raiders? This is Vulcan Dan, and we have a new Fragment Summon event starting next Monday, September 6th, which is a Roric Wyrmbane right here. He's a Barbarian Legendary Spirit Affinity Attack Champion. Right, so this starts next week, and I'm very excited for this new Fragment Summon event. Not because this champion will be some sort of game-changing end-game champion, but for those who are new to the game, free to play, maybe you're somewhere in the early to the mid game, this champion will carry your team. So he's excellent for those early to mid game players. You will put him in most of your teams, whether it's for Doom Tower waves or those boss fights in the dungeon, whether it's the spider, the dragon, ice golem. I think he is excellent in a lot of areas in the game, and I do like the new design or the new mechanics that Plarium is doing with their newer champs, like Ninja, that they are flexible, that they can deal with waves and they can deal with bosses as well. All right, so let's take a look at this guy, Roric Wyrmbane. A1, even love this name right here, Wormslayer Hammer. All right, so attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 40% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn. Each hit will fill this champion's turn meter by 15% if the target is not under a stun debuff after the hit. So this works excellently for both waves and for bosses, because bosses in raid cannot be stunned. So of course, if you're facing a boss, you will have this turn meter fill instead. And for the stun, that's a very high percentage chance. So you can book that up to a 50%. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn, and you have a 2-hitter. So that's a very reliable and consistent stun with a high percentage chance to land on an A1. All right, so that's very useful. And then this would fill your turn meter by 30% because it's 2 hits if you're facing a boss that cannot be stunned. And so yeah, I really like this skill. All right, and A2, Dragon Rage. 3-turn cooldown, and as you can see here, you don't need books. It's already a 3-turn cooldown, because normally you would have this on a 4-turn and then you will have to book it up to a 3-turn. But so it's very free to play friendly, budget friendly, because legendary books are very hard to get in this game. All right, so it's attack one enemy, 80% chance, book to 100 of decreasing the target's turn meter by 75%. That's very good. If this skill fully depletes the target's turn meter, has an 80% chance, also book to 100 of placing a stun debuff on all other enemies for 1 turn. So yeah, so it's a single hitter, single target that decreases a large chunk of the turn meter of the enemy, and if you're able to get it down to 0, you will have a 100% chance when booked to place that stun on everyone. Now, from when I first heard of this skill, I immediately thought of the spider. And the spider is where a lot of newer players struggle in this game, especially in the later stages. Because if you're running sort of an HP burn strat, wherein you're going to HP burn all of the spiderlings and even the main spider, the next thing that you have to do is make sure that your champions are lasting longer, that they're staying alive for the duration of the fight. And one of the strategies to do that is to stun everyone. Now, when you're stunning the spiderlings, let's say with Seal of the Drakes, sometimes they do so much damage that instead of just stunning the spiderlings, that they all die. All right, because you're dealing too much damage. But this skill will only attack the main spider boss, and then stunning all of the spiderlings, dealing no damage on the spiderlings, which is what you want when you're doing an HP burn strat on the spider's den. So yeah, so I really like this skill, especially for those early to mid game player, to deal with the spider, to help those HP burn champs take down the spider and keep you alive with those stuns, while not killing the spiderlings. All right, I really love that skill. Last one, A3 Scale Breaker. 4-turn cooldown, can be booked to a 3-turn cooldown, single target. Ignore 50% of the target defense. Has a passive effect. We'll always use the skill instead of the default skill when counterattacking. So that is new to this game. When a champion does his counterattack, whether it's applied from champions like Skull Crusher, Valkyrie, Martyr, or some sort of, or one of the masteries that allows you to counterattack when you lose X amount of HP, you will use your A1. But this champion is I think he's the only champion in the entire game that will do his A3 instead, which is a huge ignore 50% defense hit. Yeah, so this is excellent, and this skill will not be blocked by block active skill debuff, which is becoming more and more common in the game. So yeah, I really like this skill as well. It's a very simple skill. It just hits hard, but you know, with that extra thing about counterattacking, if you're using him in the clan boss, this skill will hit harder if you're running a counterattack comp in the clan boss. All right. Passive, Titan's End, immune to stun debuffs and deals 15% more damage to bosses and receive 15% less damage from them. I like that nice little passive right there. Yeah, so he's a boss killer just like Ninja. And this aura is excellent. Increase ally speed in all battles by 19%. I really love that. Very flexible and very useful aura in many areas in the game. You can use it in the arena, you know, early to mid game arena, and he does very well in the arena as well with all of his skills, with those stuns, the huge hits. Yeah, excellent. If you're an early to mid game player, you can run him in arena. You can run him in the spider, like what I talked about, especially for his A2. In the promotional video that they put out in social media, they put the dragon, and he will be useful against the dragon, but his A2 right here, which is ironically called Dragon Rage, but it won't really be that useful in the dragon because you cannot manipulate the turn meter of the dragon. But yeah, his A1 and A3 will work quite well against the dragon, so he's okay there. I'm actually thinking that in the dungeons, his best area is the spider. Second would be the ice golem, because this A2 also works well in the ice golem, followed probably by the dragon, and then lastly the fire knight. I mean, he does bring something against the fire knight with a double hitter. That's okay. And also the decreased, or it will fill his turn meter by 15% for each hit, and then has this decreased turn meter right here. So he's okay for the fire knight. But yeah, the rest of his kit just is a single hitter, not multi-hit, and his multi-hit is only twice. So he's okay, you know, if you don't have anyone else for the fire knight. But the fire knight and the dragons are the ones that he will, you know, not be that excellent for. But ice golem and spider, you will use him if you're early to mid game. And also clan boss, fairly useful as well, and a lot of the Doom Tower bosses, I think he will do quite well. Another Doom Tower boss that I think he will do well in is Astranix the Dark Fae, which comes out next week. And because of his A2, he can stun the entire enemy team, you know, while depleting the turn meter of one of those mirror copies. And he has a hard hitter right here. So yeah, so I think for Astranix the Dark Fae, he will be a useful boss as well. So yeah, so I'm really excited for this one. He won't be again like those game-changing fusion legendaries like Brogni, you know, but for those early to mid-game players, if you're starting out playing Raid, I think he will be a fun champion to play with. Yeah, and also just want to, before I end this video, this A2 right here actually reminds me of Armina's A2 in the Barbarian faction. Armina has this A3, decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 20%, but for Roric Wyrmbane, his is a single target, but 75%, and then has this 75% can be booked to 100 chance of placing a stun for one turn on enemies who have their turn meters fully depleted. So yeah, it's very similar, and they're both from the same faction. And also Armina has this nice passive that fills this champion's turn meter by 10% each time an enemy receives a stun. So we have Armina that does a lot of stun. We have Seal of the Drakes, who is also a free login champion that does stuns. And then now we have Roric Wyrmbane that deals a lot of stuns as well. So pairs well with Armina. So if you're playing Faction Wars with Sil, Roric, and Armina, you'll just fill her turn meter so much, and she'll have so many turns with all those stuns. So yeah, very excited for this one. I'm really excited for champs that are very free to play friendly. And yeah, because this champ is a fragment summon, which is I think more easier than those traditional fusion, traditional fusion events wherein you have to build up rares, four rares to build up those 4 epics. So you require a lot of champion training, a lot of brews, a lot of potions. But this one is an easier, you just need to get those 100 fragments from the different events and tournaments. So I'm very excited for this. It's very free to play friendly, and the champion is also very, he's excellent for those early to mid game players. All right, so I hope you're excited about this champion as well. We'll start to work for him next week. And yeah, hope you're excited about this as well. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this useful, and I'll see you guys in my next video.